Hello everybody and welcome back to Red Eagle Politics. Make sure to like this video down below and subscribe to the channel if you are new. So Republicans, 13 Republicans, or I should say rhinos, decided to give Joe Biden a little bit of a policy win, even though it's not really a win, by voting for this so-called bipartisan infrastructure bill. Bipartisan it is, good it is not. Again, an old quote from Sam Francis goes that there's an evil party and there's a stupid party. The evil party are the Democrats, the stupid party are the Republicans. And when they come together to do something evil and stupid, it is called bipartisanship. And that is exactly what this is right here. And it is a disaster. Even the squad decided to vote against it, obviously for the wrong reasons, because they didn't think that it went far enough, but 13 Republicans saved it, and it already passed the Senate back in August. We talked about it a little bit back then, and it's an awful bill. I'm going to go over why. I'm going to go over why it's not infrastructure. And just because it may be better than the Build Back Better disaster bill that has the human infrastructure in it, yeah, this bill does not have amnesty in it, but it is still an awful bill, and I'm going to discuss why. But first, I do have to tell you guys about my friends over at Noble Gold. So are you happily putting your life savings on the stock market right now despite the dangers? Because if you've been thinking about investing safer so you can retire comfortably and sleep at night, you probably need to talk to a Noble Gold expert about the tax advantages and other pluses of precious metal IRAs. Of course, you might just love uncertainty, but if you don't, you can get a free America the Beautiful solid silver 5-ounce coin with any qualifying plan you start. Visit noblegoldinvestments.com today. Again, that is noblegoldinvestments.com. So the Republican Party, time and time again, they don't know what they're doing. And a lot of Republicans are starting to get it, right? We only have 13 defectors. Probably before Trump, you probably would have seen like 50. But the truth is we still have a long way to go until we actually have a party that can stand up for itself. And we see this here, and we look at who's voting for this bill. You have John Katko out of New York, Don Bacon from Nebraska, Jeff Van Drew from New Jersey, Fred Upton from Michigan. Okay, Fred Upton is retiring, so is Adam Kinzinger. Don Young from Alaska, who should retire. The guy's like 90 years old. Tom Reed from New York, Chris Smith from New Jersey, Andrew Garbarino from New York, Nicole Malliotakis, Brian Fitzpatrick, Anthony Gonzalez, who's also retiring, and David McKinley, who may retire, all voting yes on this bill. And it is a disaster. And actually the House's squad, the Democrats, the super far left squad, the Marxists actually voted against it. So the squad is actually on the better side of history than these 13 rhinos right here. But we do know that they voted against the bill because it wasn't good enough, right? We understand that. But beyond that point, it's just embarrassing for optics purposes that the squad voted the right way, yet you voted the wrong way. And it shows you how useless, by and large, a lot of the members of the Republican Party are. And you had Republican leadership like Andy Biggs, who should be the next House Speaker, by the way, decide to hit back the Democrats on this spending bill. Even Madison Cawthorn decided to hit back, saying that he was going to primary the hell out of these people who voted for it, which when it comes to Cawthorn, he may be more bark than bite there, but either way, we got to stand up and we got to primary these people. Definitely. Looking at these 13 House Republicans, I mean, Ryan Gerdusky right here highlighted that 2 of them are retiring. 3 of them are in very bluish seats. It's going to be very unlikely to primary out Katko or Bacon or Fitzpatrick because of the seats that they represent. But the rest of these individuals, they need to be primaried. Upton's got a primary challenger. He's got a primary challenger there in Steve Carra. Chris Smith in New Jersey, he should be primaried. Reed should be primaried. McKinley has a primary challenger in Cisco over in West Virginia. We'll see if that materializes. Nicole Malliotakis, I don't know who's going to primary her, but I'm sure there's somebody on Staten Island that could. Katko, Kinzinger, they're retiring or in blue districts. Gonzalez is retiring. Garbarino should be primaried. I believe he's on Long Island, and Long Island got a lot redder in the election that happened this past week. So it is very possible. So what we know here is there's probably around 8 members of the House that voted for this bill that could realistically get primaried, and they need to get primaried right now because this is ridiculous. This bill helps nobody. It really helps nobody. First of all, it's not going to give Joe Biden that much of a victory because it's really not spending that much to energize his own base, yet at the same time, it's destructive enough to make Republicans more angry about it, because you have to look at what's in the bill. And this was a tweet from Jamie Harrison, who's the failed grifter candidate who lost by 10 points to Lindsey Graham in South Carolina, talking about what is in the bill, and he left out parts of the bill, obviously, that were much more negative. So it does invest in things like bridges and airports, which is a good thing, you could say. It's probably good that we invest in that, but also a lot of unnecessary funding. A lot of this benefits e-vehicle chargers. It benefits transit, public transit in cities, which is not going to help rural Americans. Their taxes are going to have to go up to pay for clean buses in New York City if you live in like rural Nebraska or whatever. Water resilience, what does that even mean? Clean energy, and it taxes gas and makes it harder to drill for is what it does. So the lifeblood of the economy in places like Louisiana, Texas, it's not going to benefit them. This unproven clean energy, it throws $73 billion at the problem, and probably nothing is going to be done with that money. So beyond that point, a lot of this is just fluff. A lot of it helps nobody. A lot of it disproportionately affects the rural areas in a very negative way. And all in all, it's just going to increase inflation. Will it increase inflation as much as the big, $4 trillion Build Back Better package? No, it's not. But still, it's not going to be a beneficial thing. I mean, even Janet Yellen's out there saying that inflation at this rate, without a bill like this, is going to last probably up until the midterms. And it's only going to make things worse for Democrats at this rate, because this bill's probably going to be in the back of people's minds in terms of the good things that it does, which are very minimal. And the bad thing is going to be exacerbated. The problem that we have now, it's only going to get worse. And what do we know that this includes? Not only does it include a gas tax, not only does it tax crypto, not only does this bill make it harder for us to drill for oil and natural gas and affect the economies of places like Texas and things like that in the process, and New Mexico, by the way, which Democrats may lose the governorship there. It also has a mileage tax in a way. And this was an article about this infrastructure package back in August, referring to the same one, the BIF. And what do we know? It specifically says that in this infrastructure package, buried in the 2,700 pages, and again, most people don't probably know what they're voting for, it has a vehicle mileage tax, a mileage tax on vehicles, at least a pilot program. Is it optional for a couple of years or so? Yes, but that doesn't mean it won't be implemented in some fashion, which is a disaster. These rural communities, they're already making less money than the suburban ones on average. They're going to be having to pay the burden. They're going to have to pay thousands of dollars. And even suburban areas like Texas, where I live in the DFW area, it's like 80 miles from one side of the metro area to the other. I mean, the mileage really ramps up. This is going to be a disaster. And what they're doing is they're catering to their limousine liberals and their Teslas and their electric vehicles, and they're trying to incentivize that over everything else. And the majority of the American people that don't drive electric cars and that don't want to pay for electrical vehicle charging stations, they're going to have to bear the burden, and it's going to be a disaster. I mean, you look at this, $125 million in this bill to fund the pilot programs to test a national vehicle miles traveled fee. It is a massive disaster, and it's going to increase your taxes either way. And that's how they get you. These little riders that are on this bill, that's typically what they'll use, and it'll trip people up. So we know this, and I don't think it's going to help Biden. I don't really think it's going to. I think it's going to hurt him, but even worse, it's going to hurt America. And the fact that you have these 13 rhinos, I guess you could say, that decided to vote for this bill, it's a massive disaster right here. These people need to go. A lot of them are already on their way out, but a lot of them need to go. There's really no excuse for this. I mean, even if you have the squad voting no for the wrong reasons, you should not be voting for this. We need to primary these people. Like, I know we have this white pill, Yeah, 2022, Republicans are going to have a red wave. Okay, well, that's great. But we need to do it with the right people. And we have a lot of good people now compared to 5 or 10 years ago, but we have a lot of bad people. And the bad people, they need to go. They need to go. They need to be gone for good. And we need to actually have an America First Republican Congress. And I know we're not going to be able to fix the problem entirely in one election cycle, but we got to get out and vote in primaries, because just because you may put a Republican in Congress or in the Senate, it doesn't mean they're going to be a good Republican, and it could mean that they're bad. And also watch out for the grifters that say they're good but are actually bad, because the swamp runs deep. And we actually need to drain it. Trump said drain the swamp back in 2016. Well, the swamp's still there, but we have a lot of work to do ahead of 2022. So anyways, guys, thanks for watching this video. Please like this video down below, comment down below, and subscribe to the channel. Hit the bell for notifications so you never miss another video. Follow me on social media. The links are all in the description below. As always, guys, thanks for watching. Red Eagle out.